Hello, welcome to Sound and Fury Book Reviews. As usual, I'm Tina. Today I'm doing a book review of The Witch of Willow Sound by Vanessa F. Penney. This is a folk horror mystery coming out September 30th, 2025 from ECW Press. I received this arc from NetGalley in exchange for a fair review. A vivid and atmospheric folk horror with a great protagonist, The Witch of Willow Sound is a compelling read featuring an interesting mystery. So what's it about? Madeline is missing. In order to find her, Madeline's estranged niece, Fade, must return to a lonely forest of Willow Sound, Nova Scotia. There, Fade discovers her aunt's once cozy cottage empty and rotting. The ominous smell of something burnt hangs in the air. In the search for answers, Fade clashes with the people of Grand T, a nearby village struggling under the shadow of a massive looming rock that could tip and crush them all at any time. For generations, they've invented bizarre lore about Madeline, calling her a witch and blaming her for their misfortunes. They've had more misfortunes than ever lately, and a hurricane is coming. Inspired by real East Coast traditions and witch lore, The Witch of Willow Sound is a modern gothic tale that explores family lost and found and throws firelight on dark truths about what societies do with the people and the past they don't want. As a Canadian, I love books set in Canada, and especially books set on our coasts because I love the sea. I've only been to Nova Scotia once, though I really want to go back. My partner was working in Newfoundland for about 8 months, and in order to bring his work truck home after the job was done, I flew to Halifax to meet him so we could road trip home together. I also got to visit Newfoundland for a long weekend the one time when he was staying there, and so that was really awesome. We actually drove from where he was staying in Deer Lake all the way up to Carpoon Island, which is like at the far north tip. But I would love to see more of Nova Scotia. So back to this book, I really enjoyed this book on so many levels. First of all, it has a great setting. Not only is it a small town, but a small town with an interesting feature, this like hanging rock, that creates its own lore in the small town. But we also have this impending storm and an abandoned house in the woods that's both creepy and homey. In this way, because there is so much focus on the town and what happened to Aunt Madeline, the story is more of a mystery than a horror. Yeah, I guess it is more gothic, like the book says. Yeah, I guess I wouldn't really call it a horror even. There are horror elements, but it's definitely more about the why than the what. I'm not super, fond of horror anyway when the reason for the creature or ghosts or whatever is not explained and it's just kind of like scary for scary's sake. I love a good supernatural mystery. This book does not have the most shocking twist in the world, but it's also hard-hitting due to it being based on unfortunate reality. It's a really sobering truth, and it gives the story extra depth. In order to have a compelling mystery, you need to have characters driving the story who you root for, and Fade is great. She's unique in that she's a very tall and strong woman, something that she's somewhat proud about, but also gives her some sense of self-deprecation, and she's also homeless. We rarely see a homeless person main character where that isn't like the focus of the story, like being homeless, and her reason for being such is so reasonable and tragic, yet it doesn't take over the story. And it also doesn't paint, homeless people as like stupid idiots who don't know what they're doing. She's very skilled and resourceful. She's just traumatized. And then we have her friend Nish, a British historian whom she meets in the town and clicks with instantly, and with whom she has a wonderful relationship that is both cozy and sweet and adds a few instances of comic relief. I just love their friendship. It really did like kind of tone down the somberness of the story. It gave it a bit of like heart. The prose I'm a little torn on, though, in this book. Sometimes the sentence feels too short, relying too much on the effective sentence fragments, so it felt very choppy. Sentence fragments have their place, but that place, at least for me, is few and far between. And while I enjoyed the dialogue between Nish and Fade, some of the other dialogue was a little bit stilted, and the use of frig all the time was kind of annoying. I'm like, are you in like high school? Yet the prose is also lovely at times, very descriptive and adds to the atmosphere. There are wonderful lines like, and this is an arc, so it could be altered or removed in the final, but a black pickup truck splits the horizon like a chainsaw. That's cool. The book has a large focus thematically on memory, family, and identity, though in ways that are subtle but powerful. It also brings in tons of interesting folklore and explains it as the plot goes along, so you can learn about it when you need to, and none of it feels like overwhelming. It's very organic in that way. Yet there were a few loose threads that didn't feel quite kind of tied up. One to do with Fade and her mother and their relationship, and another related to a wolf. It seems both aspects were sort of like forgotten at the end of the book, or I was like, oh, but what about this and what about that? Yet it was a very strong debut and a wonderful folk horror from Canada that somehow also retains a bit of cozy feel despite the circumstances. I very much enjoyed this one. It's a great fall read. So yeah, thank you again to the publisher and NetGalley for the e-arc. I really appreciate it.